What is going on, people of YouTube? Zach Sholey coming at you again with another episode of Sholey Sports. So we are going to dive in right away. There's not a lot going on in the world of sports outside of what's going on in Wisconsin. It's kind of crazy to think about everything's going into my backyard right now. I do not want to be a homer. Do not get this confused. I don't want to be a homer. I still want to go over other sports, still want to go over other teams. I could go all day for how great it is LeBron James got 30,000 points, how great it is for Carmelo Anthony, 25,000 points, how big it is that Boogie goes down for the season, I don't know how big it is that Andre Robertson goes down for their OKC, or if it's not even a big deal. But this video, I just want to raise the one big question. Is this the biggest month in Wisconsin sports history, or is this just one of them? There's a lot of big moves going on in all three categories in MLB, NFL, and NBA, all in Wisconsin. I kind of want to go over everything, get you guys' opinions. Is this the biggest week, or is this the biggest month in Wisconsin sports history? So let's just dive right in. Green Bay Packers making moves like they needed to. Green Bay Packers, they demote Ted Thompson, kind of. They got his permission to kind of demote him and become a senior scout, senior analyst that is going to report directly to Brian Gutekunst, the new GM. And what do you guys think about the new GM, Brian Gutekunst? He's a strict personnel guy. He knows what he's going to be looking for. It sounds like he's going to take a deeper dive into free agency this year. I know a lot of people in Wisconsin are excited about that because Ted Thompson is the draft and develop, draft and develop, draft and develop, draft and develop. But it sounded like Ted Thompson was kind of delegating some major responsibilities to Russ Ball, especially when it came to signing free agents. Why didn't we re-sign Micah Hyde? He goes off and has a Pro Bowl year. He was just a gigantic utility guy. He did everything. He played safety, he played corner, he played slot corner. Everywhere that you needed him to be, that's where he was. Okay, so what does Brian Gutekunst have to do to make sure that nothing kind of gets swept under the rug? How do you maintain these better players? How do you get the most out of them? And I think Mike McCarthy did the right thing by getting rid of Dom Capers. His scheme was outdated, and I have a feeling if Dom Capers spent more time worrying about his players actually understanding the playbook and less about what the package's names are, like Nitro, NASCAR, the elephant position. Nobody cares about that if you can't play it, okay? You got to be able to play these positions. You got to be able to play them effectively in the NFL if you're going to beat teams and beat good teams. And the defense can't afford to give up 450 yards a game or however crazy our defense gave up. Usually the Packers defense had that bend but not break mentality, but they broke it bad. Packers would they would always give up a lot of yardage. They would give up a decent amount of points, but when it came to the fourth quarter or in clutch moments, they would always get that big stop. That hasn't happened the last 2 years, so something had to change. Dom Capers needed to go, and they brought in Mike Pettin in return. Mike Pettin has been a defensive coordinator and a head coach for many different teams, Buffalo Bills, New York Jets, and he was the head coach of the Cleveland Browns. I know a lot of people kind of get that confused for a lot of people that don't follow Mike Pettin, that he was the head coach of the Cleveland Browns. Mike Pettin was the last coach to get Cleveland Browns to 7 wins. So you got to kind of deal with that. He had to deal with Johnny Manziel. He had to deal with that. I'm sure if it was up to him, he would have never drafted Johnny Manziel. So he had to deal with all those headaches, all that major crap, basically, and learn how to win. And he kind of got a bad rap for it, and then he left Cleveland, or he got fired from Cleveland and ended up being a consultant over at Seattle, and we all know how good the Legion has Boom have been. He's got a good track record of top 10 defenses. I think he's had a couple first overall defenses. He's had a couple top 5 defenses, and he's had a couple just top 10 defenses. And as a Packer fan, you're just going to welcome that, 10 different ways to Sunday. You're just going to love that stuff. Because we're sick and tired of being in the high 20s, low 20s. We can't be doing that. We can't put it all on the offense to score points. So that's what's going on with the defensive side. I love what they're doing with the defensive side of the ball. They still have to figure out what's going on with safety, what's going on with Morgan Burnett. Are they going to get rid of Morgan Burnett and put Josh Jones in the back? Because he's proven that he cannot, when he was covering people, he has proven that he did not get it. He did not cover well. He played better when he was close to the line and playing that Sam linebacker position. So a lot of good stuff going on in Green Bay. Let's get to the offensive side of the ball with Joe Philbin. Joe Philbin was here back when the Packers offense was just a wrecking ball. They were just a wrecking crew. They just destroyed everybody in their path. We all know how good they were in the early 2010s. So Joe Philbin left. A lot of people assume that was because of his son. His son died here in Wisconsin. I think he just kind of wanted to get away from Wisconsin, get away from everybody. His son drowned. I don't know the details of that, but when he was with the Green Bay Packers, the offense was seamless. It was a one-ball. It was Aaron Rodgers, the offense, Jordy Nelson, Randall Cobb. Give or take, those people are a lot older now. But I still think when you have Aaron Rodgers, a lot of things can still fall back into place. And when you have an offense that works, if it ain't fixed, if it ain't broke, don't fix it type of mentality with the Packers. So I think they need to get back to more of that mentality with that offense. And I think Joe Philbin can bring back a little symmetry back to that offense. So I really like the moves that Mike McCarthy made. I like that they brought Mike McCarthy back, and I like what Mike McCarthy did with the coaching staff to move forward and just say, hey, we're going to leave this season behind us, and we're going to move forward, and we're going to be better for it, and we're going to be back to Super Bowl caliber next year. So leave a comment below. Subscribe if you want to hear more Packer talk. We're gonna be diving into the Packers because Aaron Rodgers is coming back. There's a lot of stuff going on. How is this offense going to rebound next year? Are they going to be as good as they've been in years prior before the Aaron Rodgers injury? Are you expecting Aaron Rodgers to be back to MVP caliber after a full offseason of healing, rehab, offseason of throwing? Can he get that arm strength back? Because we know in that Carolina Panther game where he threw 3 interceptions that throwing strength quite wasn't there yet. So I'm expecting Aaron Rodgers to rebound. I'm expecting the Packers to have a good season next year. Looking forward to it. Another big month for the Packers. Now let's get into the big month for the Milwaukee Bucks. The Milwaukee Bucks fire Jason Kidd. They fire 3 assistant coaches. They bring back Vin Baker to be an assistant coach. They assign interim coach Joe Prunty to be the coach for the rest of the year. Who likes these moves? I like the move personally. I thought it was time to go. I thought it was kind of a weird timing to do it, mostly because they could have just did it after they lost the previous game to the 76ers, I believe it was, at the time when they lost by, I think it was like 22. But instead they wait until like 2 hours before tip against Phoenix, which is odd for me. You should have just fired him right after that game. Give the team a day or two to kind of decompress. I'm not sure if the semblance was, all right, we're going to fire you now. Hopefully it fires up the team to get a big win. And they responded. They got a big win even after a slow start. So Joe Prunty's 2-0 as a head coach so far. They got a game today against the Bulls. The Bulls have been a pain in the Bucs side all year long. Bulls have been one of those below average teams that the Bucs should win, but for some reason the Bulls have the number this year. So the other big question I'm going to ask about the Milwaukee Bucks is what do they need to do to get better besides getting Jabari Parker back? Because we all know when Jabari Parker comes back, he's going to be on minutes restrictions. We don't know how well that knee's going to be. We don't know how well that jump shot's going to be. The jump shot looks great in the videos that I've seen of him just bouncing back and forth. Looks like that jump shot got a lot deeper, got a lot smoother, and it looks like Jabari Parker actually got a lot slimmer. And a lot of people were expecting that Jabari Parker would extend his range, mostly due to the fact that you don't want to be driving all the time. You don't want to be putting all that torque on that knee, because when you actually see him take off, he's got some serious explosiveness, and he can take it right to the rim, and he can get up there with the best of them. If he jumped, he's going to hit his head on the rim. But I think they want to kind of get away from that. I think they want to use that potential burst against teams, like do that quick burst and do that pull up elbow 15-foot jump shot. So I think Jabari Parker is going to be a great acquisition to this team. You can almost call it an acquisition. You can almost call it a trade without giving up any pieces because of how effective Jabari Parker can be. And if Jabari Parker comes back and can be that person before he got injured, where he was averaging over 20 points a game. The Bucks have legitimately 4 players that can put up 20-plus points a game. They got Jabari Parker, Eric Bledsoe, Chris Middleton, and Giannis Antetokounmpo. The only thing that is missing from this team is a big body down low. If they can get a big body down low, it doesn't even have to be a big body like a Dwight Howard or even a DeAndre Jordan. I think they just need to go out and get a guy like Tyson Chandler, a guy that's going to not get pushed around in the paint and that can get a rebound. I mean, Thon Maker shouldn't be playing the center. He should be playing the power forward, where he's better on the baseline, where you can just kick it out to him and he's going to knock down that 15 to 20, 23, 25-foot jump shot. That's what Thon Maker's wheelhouse is. If you see him in the paint and he does a hook shot, it just makes me cringe because he's so bad at it and he can just get pushed around when it comes to rebounds. That's not saying that Thon Maker can't, get a block every now and then, but on defense he is a liability. He is very slow on his feet. When he gets dragged down into the perimeter, he always falls for the pump fake, and people just beat him into the paint. I'm not a fan of it. We need somebody in there. We need to continue to develop Thon Maker, but I think we need a bigger body in the paint more than we need Thon Maker at this point. That's not saying go off and trade Thon Maker. That means just continue to develop him. If that involves throwing him into the G League for a little while, throw him into the G League, wait until he gains a little bit of weight so he can't get pushed around a lot. John Henson and a guy like Tyson Chandler, I think would go great together overall, unless you include John Henson in a trade to bring in a guy like Tyson Chandler or DeAndre Jordan. So a lot of good things are going on with the Bucks. I'm expecting a lot of moves to be happening at the trade deadline. I'm not expecting a lot, but I'm expecting one major move to happen at the trade deadline to really boost this team up. We're already expecting, obviously, Jabari Parker to come back, and if we can get another guy like a Tyson Chandler, I expect this team to be fortified. I expect this team to be good. Maybe another thing that the Bucks could add is a little bit more bench scoring. Matthew Dellavedova, he's going to get you 4 to 6 points a game. We need more activity off the bench, and Malcolm Brogdon can't do it by himself, and sometimes Malcolm Brogdon's even in the starting lineup. So we need more. We need more scoring, especially off the bench. Our starting lineup can't be scoring 90% of our points. We need more activity off the bench. So that's what I think about the Milwaukee Bucks. A lot of good things are happening with the Milwaukee Bucks. I'm expecting them to kind of shoot for the moon, shoot for the stars, and just hopefully land on the moon type of mentality. Go for it, and hope something sticks, and hopefully you can find something that works. So next up, let's talk about the big moves that the Milwaukee Brewers made. They made the big trade for Christian Yelich, giving up 4 major prospects: Lewis Brinson, Isan Diaz, to highlight those. Monte Harrison, another great prospect, and we gave up another reliever on the side. So I'm expecting Christian Yelich to come in, either play center field or right field right away. I'm not sure what they're going to do with the center field position or who they're going to give it to. I'm sure it's going to be kind of bouncing back and forth between a few players out there in the center field. But did the Brewers give up too much in this deal? They gave up 2 of their top 6 prospects, and they gave up another 2 prospects that were very respectable. I actually think that they gave up the right amount for this, because I actually think that they're actually kind of doing what they did with Travis Shaw, like I said in my prior video, that they're trying to hit Christian Yelich right at his peak, and I think they're going to do it. If you actually looked at Christian Yelich's spray chart from when he was in Miami, because of how big Miami is, if he played in Miller Park, they said he would have hit 34 home runs just because of how big Miami is in comparison to Miller Park. And I think that's a big shot for the Brewers, because they're already a great hitting squad. He bats .290. Imagine if those balls go over the fence. I'm ecstatic. As a guy from Wisconsin, I'm always rooting for the hometown team and my crew. So I'm really looking forward to see Christian Yelich out there get some more wins. The Brewers exceeded expectations last year. They're expected, I don't even make 75 wins. Was that even am I shooting for the moon there? Because they ended up getting 86. I was really rooting for that. Not a lot of people expected it. I think with a guy like Christian Yelich, you'll definitely get a few more wins out of the team, especially because you're going to get a lot more clutch hitting. you didn't even give up any like major league prospects for it, which I'm throwing a Keon Broxton. Our outfielders are kind of insane right now with how many outfielders we have, including the one that I'm about to talk about. 5 years, $80 million with Lorenzo Cain coming into the Milwaukee organization. He started his career with the Milwaukee organization. He was drafted 17th overall back. I don't even remember when it was, but he got his first home run here. He got his first hit, and this is where he when people really actually saw his potential was when he first made it to the major leagues in Milwaukee. We ended up trading him to bring in Zach Greinke. We all know how that went with the 2011 season when the Brewers almost made it to the World Series. And then we all know what happened with Lorenzo Cain. He goes on to Kansas City. He ends up winning a World Series in Kansas City. Awesome for Lorenzo Cain. Awesome for the Brewers that they're bringing back that experience, though. They're bringing back not just a player, they're bringing back the big game experience, and that's something that the Brewers desperately need. They're also bringing back a guy that is a fortified defender out there. He's got a good arm, great speed. He batted .300 last year. He can really steal some bases. Really excited for the signing of Lorenzo Cain. Did they pay too much for him? He's 31 years old. You basically signed him probably through the rest of his career being 36. You might get a year or two left out of him after that, but I can guarantee you the Brewers probably will not sign him after that. He'll be 36, so you don't be monkeying around with that. This is a kind of a deal where you kind of wanted to give him a decent amount of years to get himself established in Milwaukee, so you're making moves for not just now, but also in the future, which I like that mentality by David Stearns. Don't make moves just for now. Make them for the future. I mean, the Christian Yelich deal, the reason why I don't think you gave up too much for him is because he's signed until 2023. That's some good years. This isn't just a rental player and you gave up 4 prospects. This is a great move for the Milwaukee Brewers. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love the Lorenzo Cain deal. I love what they're doing with the outfield. There's at least 2 moves that the Brewers need to make, and I'm assuming it's going to end up revolving around a Domingo Santana, a Brett Phillips, a Keon Broxton. I'm expecting at least Domingo Santana to be traded to somebody for a starting pitcher. And to me, if you're going to trade for a starting pitcher, you're eyeing up Chris Archer. I know how Chris Archer feels confident that he's not going to get traded, but how many times in the past have we seen this where a player's confident that they're not going to get traded only for a week or 2 down the line for them to get traded? Nobody is untouchable. There's some deals out there that you just can't refuse as a player. And the Brewers have Domingo Santana, they have a Brett Phillips, they have a Keon Broxton, they have outfielders coming out of their ears right now. And I'm also hearing that Ryan Braun might be going to first base to play that part-time. I don't know how that's going to work. Does that mean they're also eyeing up a trade to move a guy like Eric Thames, a guy like Jesus Aguilar down the line, if they're going to move Ryan Braun to first base part-time? What does that exactly mean? Does that mean that an Eric Thames or an Jesus Aguilar is expendable to be moved? And I'm sure a lot of people wouldn't be opposed to trading a guy like Eric Thames to a guy in the AL because they think Eric Thames would be a great DH. So there's a lot of good moves out there. The Brewers need to get a starting pitcher, and I still think they need to get another late-inning reliever to really make this team worthwhile. Right now, I think that they're hovering right at the 90 to 92 win mark for this upcoming season. But I think they get a starting pitcher, and I think they get that late-inning reliever, and they can lock down some more of those one-run games that they lost last year just by winning, a handful more of them, just to be able to hold on to those games. You are going to win 95 games, and you are competing with the Chicago Cubs for that NL Central title. And even if you get the wild card, you are a team to be reckoned with if you can stay healthy. It's baseball, people. Nobody knows what's going to happen. This isn't the NBA where a team is just significantly better than the other team, and you just know that you're going to get blown out by 20 type of night. Baseball is a game of highs and lows, and you just hope that you're at your high when that playoff comes around. And all of a sudden, a wild card team could end up becoming a World Series champion. And I'm not saying that the Brewers are going to go off in the World Series. I'm just saying it wouldn't surprise me if they got there. I'm loving the moves that are happening in Wisconsin. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. And I'm expecting a lot more moves in the upcoming weeks with the Bucks, with NBA free agency. I'm expecting a lot to happen in the Packers when it comes to NFL free agency. Obviously, we got to wait a little while for that, but I'm expecting a lot to happen in the upcoming weeks with the Milwaukee Brewers before spring training happens. Really excited as a guy from Wisconsin for the sports teams. When was the last time that we could say that our sports teams are all trying to win at the same time? When was the last time that this happened? And that's why I think this is the biggest month in Wisconsin sports history. Let me know if you agree. Comment below. Subscribe to the channel. There's a lot more to be talking about. I want to get more into the Super Bowl in this upcoming week. Super Bowl week, there's a lot going on. Super Bowl pick is on the way from Landon, and I am really excited about this. So tell me what you guys think. Don't forget to subscribe, share the video, let everybody know that Shirley Sports is out there. So I will be seeing you guys later. Have a good one. Later.